We are going to move on now to the box office report, and I am happy to report that we are not going to talk about another flop, another lower than expected opening, another bomb, another Flash or Dial of Destiny, or Mission Impossible Bomb Reckoning. We're going to be talking about Barbenheimer. Now, this movie absolutely dominated. I've been covering Barbenheimer quite closely over the last month or so. So, we get into it. At number one, we have Barbie at 155 million. Second, Oppenheimer at 80.5 million. Third, Sound of Freedom with 20.1 million. Fourth, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 at 19.5 million. And fifth, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny of 6.7 million. So I'm just going to go. And then you can come in because I see you eating. And I just want to talk about Barbenheimer for a bit. I knew Barbie was going to open big. I've known that for quite a while. I saw the pre-sales. I started tracking them. They kept being higher and higher, outpacing kind of the historical data that, you look at for this kind of stuff. And so it kept outdoing expectations. And this weekend, I was like, when I was making the predictions, I think Warner Brothers, I think they were forecasting around 90 to 100 million. And then industry outlets were predicting around like 120 million. I was like, nah, it's going to be at least 150. I'm going to highball it to 160. I think once the actual results come out tomorrow, not the estimates, I think you'll be looking at around 160 to 165. Yeah.
So you're pretty much like spot on with your prediction.
I think I'm going to be spot on with my prediction for Barbie. Oppenheimer is one that blew me away, man. This is just insane. I'm almost speechless at that one. I predicted at the start of the weekend 52 million, and then I saw the Thursday previews were about 10 million. I'm like, okay, no, this is going to do 60 million. And then its opening day was like 33. I was like, oh, wow, it goes to 80 million.
Impressive for a 3-hour R-rated film as well.
Mm-hmm. So it's a biopic about one person, about the creation of the atomic bomb during that kind of era. It's mostly all talk, like the entirety of it. 3 hours, R-rated, with black and white scenes, and it did 80.5 million. I reckon it'll be around 82 million once all is said and done. Which this is just insane because it's going to beat. No, we'll make this more insane in terms of how it sounds. It's the highest Nolan opening outside of the Dark Knight franchise, which is ridiculous. It opened more than Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. And that was a 5-day opening for Mission Impossible. It did more in 3 days than 5 days for Mission Impossible.
Did it open more than Fast and Furious?
Yep. More than Transformers, more than Flash, more than Indiana Jones. I don't know. I think it's, in terms of openings, it's below Mario, of course. Obviously Barbie. Little Mermaid and Guardians. Yeah. So for this movie to be that high is just ridiculous.
And all those movies you just named was based on franchises or remakes.
Mm-hmm. I read other stuff as well. So Barbie, its worldwide debut was about 330. Oh no, yeah, 330 million. 335, I think, which I was pretty much spot on for that one as well. I just knew that overseas would do a lot better than anticipated, except in the Asian markets, it's not doing very well there, but within Latin America and all that kind of stuff, it's really excelling. Yeah, so Barbie up to 330 million, which is the highest movie, or highest opening or global opening for a movie that's not a sequel, reboot, remake, or part of the MCU. Which it's just ridiculous, man. This Barbenheimer meme, because we've been memeing this, the battle, the team up, and stuff like that
since the dates were announced, like a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, we've been doing it for a while, and I saw this catch on to people beyond that talk about movies in the way that we do. It really it went on to a whole new tier, and it's funny because it always started out of like, oh, which one will win the box office? Which one is going to be the winner? And they helped each other so much. Like, neither movie would make as much money as it did. I know Barbie would have done fantastic regardless because marketing campaign's been excellent. I think one of the best I've ever seen. So I think that movie was always going to be a 100 million debut kind of movie with the marketing campaign that it did have. But 155 million, I don't think, and definitely not 330 worldwide opening. So yeah, these movies have helped each other so much. Oppenheimer wouldn't have made 82 million without Barbenheimer. I fail to believe it. I don't see it. Yeah, and I was on Instagram, my personal Instagram, and I saw like a party from someone I went to high school with, and it was Barbenheimer themed.
Barbenheimer themed.
Yeah. So you had like some guys in suits and then like the roller skate outfits and Barbie and stuff like that. And I was like, this is a party thing now? Like, that's how much it's like transcended us like movie buffs, you know? So, yeah. It does break my heart to see Mission Impossible drop from first to fourth. And I think it dropped like 65%. Barbenheimer slaughtered this thing ridiculously. Like, and Sound of Freedom, I don't even know what this like.
What is that film?
Okay, I'm hearing a lot about Sound of Freedom now, and check out TikTok. People are like commenting it and stuff. Okay. I know it's a politically driven film. I'm gonna watch what I say because I know people are quite like personally invested in this movie. It's a very politically driven movie on one side of the political spectrum, and so there's a lot of like passion for it and its message. It's about human trafficking and stuff like that, but they are trying to like the marketing campaign is very, very weird. So if you go on the website for this movie, they have a scheme called Pay It Forward, and you can buy a ticket.
Oh, I think I remember you telling me this.
Yeah, you can buy a ticket and it just stays in like a queue, and people can come and redeem free tickets and then watch the movie. There's a lot of like conspiracy around it. Like I've seen videos of like, oh, we booked tickets for Sound of Freedom and no one's here. The cinema's empty and stuff like that. But online it said it was sold out. And then like there's like other videos where it's like, when we went in there, the AC was turned off and the lights were on the entire movie. And they don't want you to see this movie. And so there's a lot of like political things going on with this movie. And I'm not going to get into that because I just don't care. It's a waste of time in my opinion. But the Pay It Forward thing, I think they've bought like 8 million tickets, and I think it doesn't represent real box office, because the way that I understand it is that you can just go and buy a ticket and no one can redeem it, or people can just redeem free tickets and not go to it. So it's not really reflective of who's going to go see it and whatnot. So yeah.
So technically Mission Impossible came third.
I don't know what technically.
If you take away that.
Yeah, it's a complicated thing, but yeah. On the TikTok, on our TikTok account, the comments are like, "Oh, Sound of Freedom," all this kind of stuff. So yeah, check that out. They're pretty funny. But yeah, what are your thoughts on such a huge debut? Oh, and I'll add, Oppenheimer worldwide, I think you got 175 million. So yeah, what are your thoughts on this?
Funny how like the worldwide total is almost like Barbie's domestic.
Said
it's funny how like the worldwide total is almost Barbie's domestic for Oppenheimer.
Oh right, yes, yeah. So trying to figure that one out.
Yeah, I think we always knew that this was going to be the case, that Barbie was going to dominate and Oppenheimer is going to be second. I think the more surprising thing is Mission Impossible, because you would have thought that like Barbie and Oppenheimer all would have sold out, so the next film everyone would go see would flow through to Mission Impossible, and that would have a decent bump. Not bump, but a sustainable drop from its first to second week. So I do feel sorry for Tom Cruise. He probably should have pushed this film forward by a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I know that Paramount wanted to delay this to September, and Tom Cruise refused. I heard that.
Mission Impossible would have dominated in September.
Yeah,
because there's nothing significant coming out. It would have been the end of, well, not the end, but like the Barbenheimer sort of would have dropped as well.
But this would have been a while ago. But try go back to your frame of mind at the start of the year. If you're looking at Oppenheimer, Barbie, and Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, you would think Mission Impossible is easily going to wipe the floor with them with box office.
Easily, yeah.
Yeah, and then look what the Barbenheimer thing did.
Crazy. All within a span of like 7 months, a meme has helped two movies
Yeah.
so much. I'll be interested to see what the second weekend will be. I think that'll be the real test and gauge on where we think the films are going to end up.
Yeah.
I can't remember if we had a discussion on an earlier podcast or on private off our drops on this, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting second week.
They're going to have very light drops, I think.
Yeah.
I think.
Do you still think it'll be 1-2 Barbie Oppenheimer?
Yep, easily. If I do, because I'm going to write up my projections tomorrow. At this point in time, I would say Barbie gets about 90 million next weekend, and Oppenheimer probably around 50. Because they were just all selling out through Sunday, from what I've heard, and that it's spilled into weekdays now. Just because no one can get a seat and people need the double feature. Yeah. And they're gonna go see both, and and I think what's that? Haunted Mansion comes out this weekend. I think cinemas are gonna be seeing what the performance was of all, like both Barbie and Oppenheimer, and gonna be like, no, you're not gonna have any premium screens. We're gonna let these two go at it for ages. So I think they're gonna have very lengthy runs. I would say Oppenheimer gets around 300 million. Domestically by the end of its run, probably around 700 in total million, and I'd say Barbie goes for $1 billion.
That was going to be my next question.
I think it will creep past $1 billion, just because I know Asia is not really into Barbie and kind of the messaging that Barbie has. I know they won't. They're just not a fan of that kind of stuff.
They should have had an Asian Barbie there to boost that box office.
I don't know if that would work. But I know it's been like banned in like Vietnam and stuff like that because of the like some dotted line on a map or something like that. So they're very peculiar about it, and I don't think it will get a UAE release as well.
Russia, is that Russia?
No, United Arab Emirates. Yeah. Because you know why. So yeah, Barbenheimer continues. We're going to be covering it all along. And be sure to check out moviegames.com tomorrow, because we're going to be doing projections for the next week. And like I just told you, they're going to be big.
And not just tomorrow, just every day after that.
And every single day.